All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Me too. This is going to be a fun one. We're diving into Japanese festivals today.
Matsuri.
Matsuri, yeah. So we've been digging through a ton of research on this.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
A lot to unpack.
Mountains.
Mountains, exactly. But first, just to give everyone a sense of scale, we're talking about somewhere between 100,000
To 300,000?
to 300,000 festivals happening every year across Japan.
Every year, which is just mind-boggling to me.
It's crazy. Think about it. Almost a festival for every single day of the year somewhere.
You could literally have a festival a day if you planned it out.
Yeah, and these aren't just small local things. We're talking massive events, huge cultural impact.
Oh yeah, a massive economic impact too, actually.
Right, back in 2019, they generated something like 530 billion yen. That's not insignificant.
No, not at all. And you know what else is amazing? The global recognition.
Oh, right, UNESCO, yeah.
Yeah, UNESCO.
Yeah.
33 float festivals alone are listed as intangible cultural heritage.
Wow, and that's not even counting all the other dances and processions, the costumes.
That's truly impressive.
Yeah. But let's back up a bit. What exactly do we mean when we say Matsuri? Like, where does that word even come from?
Well, you have to go back to Shinto, right?
The kami.
Yeah, the Shinto deities, the kami. The most popular theory is that Matsuri comes from Matsuro, which means to obey the kami.
So it's about showing respect and reverence to these powerful beings.
Exactly, and through these festivals, they're really trying to connect with those spirits, maybe even appease them.
Appease? Why appease?
Well, think about Japan's history. Natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, typhoons. It's a land that's always been at the mercy of these powerful forces.
Okay, so it makes sense that they'd want to, be on the good side of the spirits who control those things.
Right, and some of these Matsuri, they're actually dedicated to Onri, these vengeful spirits.
Oh, wow. So not just benevolent spirits.
Not always. Sometimes it's about acknowledging the darker side of the spiritual world, seeking protection from potential harm.
Interesting. You also see this blending of Shinto and Buddhist practices in many of these festivals, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not always a clear-cut distinction. You might have elements from both traditions woven together.
Like a syncretism.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just about worshiping good spirits. It's also about acknowledging these more powerful, maybe even a little scary entities.
To try and keep them happy, to protect themselves.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to see how this plays out in some of the major urban festivals, like the Gion Matsuri in Kyoto.
That's a big one, right?
Huge. Also, the Tenjin Matsuri in Osaka and the Kanda Matsuri in Tokyo. These are often considered like the big three.
And they all have this connection to Onri.
In a way, yeah. Like the Gion Matsuri is associated with Gozu Tenno, who is connected with disease and epidemics.
So it makes sense that they'd want to, keep him happy.
Right. Then you have the Tenjin Matsuri, which honors Sugawara no Michizane, a scholar and politician who was wrongly exiled.
And he became an Onri.
Yeah, after his death, a series of disasters were blamed on his vengeful spirit. So the Tenjin Matsuri is meant to pacify him.
Wow. And what about the Kanda Matsuri?
That one is linked to Taira no Masakado, a warrior who rebelled against the imperial court.
Sounds intense.
He was defeated and executed, and then he also became an onrai. So the Kanda Matsuri is, again, about appeasing his spirit and seeking protection.
So these massive urban festivals, they're drawing huge crowds, right? Like hundreds of thousands, even millions of people.
Oh yeah, millions. It just goes to show you how important these figures, even these figures associated with misfortune, how central they are to Japanese culture.
It's not just about celebrating the good, it's about acknowledging these more complex forces.
Exactly. And then you have Kyoto's other major players.
Besides Gion.
Besides Gion, yeah. The Aomori Matsuri and the Jidai Matsuri.
Yeah, those are known for their processions, right?
Ah, the processions. Incredible. So while Gion has the dashi, those incredible floats.
And the mikoshi, the portable shrines.
Yeah, those two. But Ai and Jidai, they're all about the costumes, the historical clothing.
Like a window into the past?
Exactly. Like the Ai Matsuri, everyone's dressed in Heian period attire. And then the Jidai Matsuri, you see costumes from different eras of Japanese history.
It's like living history almost.
Yeah, it's really something. It's interesting, though, when you think about national recognition. The Aomori Nebuta Matsuri and the Tokushima Awa Odori, those are right up there with Gion.
In terms of popularity.
Yeah, they attract millions of visitors every year. In fact, a survey back in 2022 ranked them as the top 2 most recognized festivals in Japan.
And Gion came in third.
Third, yeah. which tells you something about their national significance.
They're not just local events.
Not at all. They're woven into the fabric of Japanese identity.
Okay, so we've talked about these big urban festivals, but there's another whole category we need to explore. Agricultural festivals.
Oh yeah, those are crucial, especially in a country with such a long agricultural history like Japan.
Makes sense. So much of Japanese culture and spirituality is tied to the land, to the seasons.
Right. And what's interesting is that you see this reflected in the seasonal rhythm of these agricultural festivals.
Like they change with the seasons.
Absolutely. There are specific ceremonies and practices for spring, summer, fall, and even winter.
Each with its own purpose, I imagine.
Exactly. They're all connected to the growth cycle of rice, primarily, but also other important crops.
So walk us through some examples. What happens in spring?
Well, in spring, one of the first things you might see is Minakuchi-sai, the Watermouth Festival.
What's that?
So basically, they make offerings at the points where water enters the rice fields. Things like flowers, twigs, sag, baked rice.
Like a way of honoring the water source?
Exactly. It's about showing respect to the mountain kami who control the water, ensuring a good supply for the crops.
And then you have Gion Matsuri, the rice planting festival.
Yes, that one's really beautiful. Traditionally, young women, they're called saotome, they go into the flooded fields and plant the seedlings.
While singing and dancing.
Often, yeah. It's a really symbolic act, a way of praying for a bountiful harvest.
It's a very visual image.
It is, very much so. Then, as summer comes around, you start to see festivals focused on protecting the crops.
Protecting them from what?
Insects, pests, things like that. There's Mushiokuri, the insect sending festival.
How does that work?
Well, they light torches at night, and then they take these straw dolls, which represent pests, and they either float them down rivers or discard them somewhere.
It's like a symbolic way of getting rid of the pests.
Exactly. They're basically saying, okay, pests, you've had your time, now go away.
Like it.
It's clever. Then there's Amagoi, the rain eye. This is when things get a little dry.
They pray for rain.
Yeah. They perform special dances dedicated to the kami, and sometimes they'll light fires too, all in the hope of bringing rain.
It's a reminder of how dependent they were on the weather for their survival.
Very much so. Then comes fall, the harvest season. This is a time of immense gratitude.
Makes sense. They've worked hard all year, and now it's time to reap the rewards.
Exactly. So you have Niname-sai, which is a really important one.
What happens during Niname-sai?
Well, they offer the newly harvested rice to the kami. It happens at the imperial court and also at shrines all over Japan.
It's like a national Thanksgiving.
In a way, yeah. And then in rural areas, you have Aki-matsuri, the autumn festival.
What happens during that one?
It's a bit more local. The farmers express their thanks to the kami of the rice fields, and then they symbolically send those kami back to the mountains for the winter.
It's like they're acknowledging the cycle, the end of the growing season.
Exactly. It's beautiful, really. Then even in winter, the agricultural traditions continue.
Really? Even in winter?
Oh, yeah. You have Sajichu or Dandoyaki.
What are those?
So basically, they take New Year's decorations, things like karamatsu, and they burn them ritually.
Okay.
And then they roast mochi, those rice cakes, over the flames.
I've heard of mochi.
Yeah, it's delicious. And then there's tasobi.
Tell me about that one.
Well, during tasobi, they actually simulate farm work inside the shrine hall.
That's interesting, like a way of preparing for the next growing season.
Exactly. They're praying for a successful harvest in the coming year.
So even in the depths of winter, they're still thinking about the land, the crops.
Always. It's such a central part of their lives.
Now, we've talked about all these festivals with deep religious roots, many of them sponsored by local shrines or temples.
Right.
But you also mentioned that some festivals are secular.
Yeah, that's true. Not all of them have that direct religious connection.
So what are those like? How are they different?
Well, in terms of the overall atmosphere, they often share a lot of similarities with the religious festivals.
Like what?
Well, you'll usually have food stalls, all kinds of delicious treats, entertainment, music, dancing, things like that, and then, of course, carnival games.
The classic festival staples.
Exactly. It's really about bringing the community together, giving people a chance to celebrate and have fun.
Sounds lively.
It is, very much so. And in terms of when they happen, it really varies. Some are tied to traditional holidays like Setsubun or Oban.
Which are?
Setsubun is in early February. It's the day before spring starts, according to the traditional calendar. And then Oban is in mid-August. It's a Buddhist custom for honoring the spirits of one's ancestors.
Okay, so some festivals are linked to those specific times.
Right. And then, of course, you have a lot of harvest-related festivals that happen in late summer or early autumn.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But a lot of them, their dates just kind of vary depending on the local tradition.
We also hear a lot about processions being a key part of these local Matsuri.
Oh yeah, the processions. Those are amazing. Often they'll involve these elaborate floats. They're called dashi.
The dashi, yeah. I've seen pictures. They're huge, beautifully decorated.
They are. They can take months, even years to create.
Really?
Yeah, people put a lot of pride and effort into them. And the interesting thing is, often before the procession, they'll actually put the local kami into a mikoshi, a portable shrine.
So the kami is actually present in the procession.
Yeah, it's like they're bringing the divine presence right into the heart of the community.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. And then around all of this, you have the sights, the sounds, the smells of the festival.
Paint us a picture.
Okay, so imagine you're walking down a street lined with these colorful booths. People are selling souvenirs, toys, all sorts of things.
And the food.
Oh, the food.
Yeah.
You've got takoyaki, those little octopus balls, yakitori, grilled skewers, all sorts of delicious things.
Makes me hungry just thinking about it.
And then you've got the games, the goldfish scooping, the ring toss, all the classics.
Oh, real sensory overload.
It is, but in a good way. And then sometimes you'll have karaoke contests, sumo matches, even boat rentals if there's a lake or river nearby.
It's a real mix of everything.
Yeah, there's something for everyone. And what's really cool is that some of these local Matsuris, they actually gain national attention.
Like how?
Well, some of them are so popular, so unique, that they end up being broadcast on national television.
Oh, wow. So people all over Japan can experience them.
Exactly. Like the Nara no Kenka Matsuri in Himeji.
What's that one known for?
It's famous for it's kind of violent, actually. They have these float battles.
Float battles.
Yeah, the teams, they ram their dashis into each other.
That sounds intense.
It is. Definitely not for the faint of heart. And then there's the Nebuta Matsuri in Hirosaki, which is more about the visual spectacle.
What's special about that one?
The floats. They're massive, shaped like fans, and they're lit up with these incredible lanterns.
So it's more of a nighttime event.
Yeah, and it's just breathtaking. They tell stories from history, myths, legends.
Wow, I'd love to see that someday.
It's really something else.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, different types of Matsuri, their origins, their significance.
We have.
Now I think it's time to dive into some specific examples.
The famous ones, yeah.
Yeah, the ones that people might have heard of, even if they're not super familiar with Japanese culture.
There are so many to choose from.
I know, right? It's kind of overwhelming. But let's start with one that's pretty well known, even internationally. The Sapporo Snow Festival.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Held every February in Hokkaido, right?
Yeah, usually for about a week or so. And what's interesting is it started really small back in 1950.
Really?
Yeah, just some local high school students building snow statues in a park.
And now it's this huge event.
Huge. We're talking massive, incredibly detailed sculptures made entirely of snow and ice. They also have concerts, events, all sorts of things.
It draws millions of visitors, right?
Millions. Back in 2019, over 2.5 million people came.
It's amazing how something that started so small could become such a global phenomenon.
It really is. And then you have the Lake Tawada Snow Festival.
That one's in Aomori, right?
Yeah, on the southern shore of Lake Tawada. It's a bit smaller than Sapporo, but still really beautiful.
What do they have there?
Well, you can wander through a snow maze. They have a traditional Japanese igloo you can explore. And they have stalls selling local foods from Aomori and Akita.
Sounds cool.
It is. Very cozy. And then in the evenings, they have fireworks and performances on an ice stage.
Wow, sounds magical.
It is. Really captures the beauty of winter.
Okay, now for a festival that's all about light and color. The Aomori Nebuta Festival.
Yes, that one's spectacular.
It happens in August, right?
Yeah, early August. And the main attraction is the Nebuta, these giant illuminated floats.
I've seen pictures. They're incredible.
Oh, they are. They depict figures from history, kabuki plays, myths, all sorts of things. And they all hand-painted on washi paper, stretched over these intricate frames.
How big are they?
Some of them can be up to 9 meters wide and 5 meters tall.
Wow, that's huge.
And they're lit up from the inside, so they just glow. It's truly a sight to behold.
And then there's the dancing, right?
Oh yeah, the Hana dancers, they wear these bright, colorful costumes, and they just dance with such energy, it's infectious.
And anyone can join in, right?
Yeah, if you buy a costume, you can jump right in and dance with them. It's a really participatory festival.
That's so cool.
It is. It's about celebrating, letting loose, having fun.
Now for something completely different, the Nango Summer Jazz Festival.
Ah, yes. This one's for music lovers.
Held in Tohoku, right?
Yeah, and it's actually the largest open-air jazz concert in the entire Tohoku region.
Wow, that's impressive. How did it start?
It actually began indoors back in 1989, but it just grew and grew in popularity.
So they had to move it outside.
Exactly. Now they have thousands of artists performing everything from traditional jazz to more contemporary styles.
And it's free to attend.
It is. But you still need a ticket to get in just because of the sheer number of people who want to come.
That's amazing.
It really is. It shows the power of music to bring people together.
Okay, now we can't talk about Japanese festivals without mentioning the cherry blossom festival.
Oh, of course not. The Hanami.
It's like a national obsession, right?
Pretty much. It's such a beautiful, fleeting time of year.
When do they usually happen?
Well, it depends on the region. In the south, it can start as early as late January, but in the north, it might not be until early May.
So it's a moving target.
Yeah, you have to chase the blossoms. And everyone's got their favorite spots, parks, gardens, temples, you name it.
What do people typically do during Hanami?
Well, a lot of it is just about enjoying the beauty of the blossoms. They'll have picnics, parties. Sometimes they'll even set up tents and stay overnight.
Sounds festive.
Oh, it is. They'll eat and drink under the trees, play music, sing songs. It's a real celebration of spring.
And it's not just about cherry blossoms, right?
No, although those are definitely most popular. People appreciate other spring blossoms too, like peach blossoms.
And there are often special events, festivals, things like that.
Absolutely. You'll have tea ceremonies, music performances, illuminations at night, all sorts of things.
It sounds magical.
It really is. It's a time to appreciate the ephemeral nature of beauty.
Now, it's fascinating to see how this tradition of Matsuri has even spread beyond Japan's borders.
It has, yeah. You see it particularly in places with large Japanese diaspora communities. Well, Brazil has the largest Nikki population. That's people of Japanese descent. So in cities like São Paulo and Curitiba, they have these huge Matsuri.
Wow. And what about in the U.S.?
Yeah, the U.S. has the second largest Nikki population. So you see Matsuri in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Phoenix.
It's like a way of keeping those cultural connections alive.
Exactly. And it's not just about the diaspora communities either. Even in Wales, they've adopted the term Matsuri for their annual Drift Festival.
Drift Festival.
Yeah, for cars. It's a motorsport thing.
Interesting. So the word Matsuri has taken on a broader meaning, even outside of Japan.
It has, yeah. It's come to represent this idea of a vibrant community celebration, regardless of the specific cultural context.
Okay, so we've talked about local, regional, even international festivals.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what about the festivals that are celebrated nationwide?
Right. Those are important too.
So which ones are we talking about?
Well, there are several that happen on fixed dates, like Seijin Shiki Coming of Age Day. That's on the second Monday of January.
So it's a holiday.
Yeah, a national holiday. It's for all the young people who turned 20 during the past year.
Okay, what else?
Then there's Hina-matsuri, the doll festival, on March 3rd. That's specifically for girls.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's all about wishing for the girls' happiness and health. And then there's Hanami, flower viewing season, which usually runs from late March to early May.
We already talked about that one.
We did, but it's important enough to mention again. And then you have Hana-matsuri, the flower festival, on April 8th. That's a Buddhist holiday celebrating Buddha's birthday.
Okay.
Tanabata, the Star Festival, is on July 7th. Shichigo-san, the 753 Festival for Children, is on November 15th. And then, of course, there's Chusoka, New Year's Eve, on December 31st.
That's quite a list.
It is, and those are just the ones with fixed dates. Then there are the ones that span multiple days.
Like what?
Like Setsubun, which happens on February 3rd. It marks the division of the seasons.
And then there's Inichi, right?
Yeah, Inichi. Those are temple fairs, and they happen on various dates throughout the year. And of course, there's Bunka, Nohai Japanese Cultural Day, on November 3rd, though we don't have info on specific multi-day events for that one.
So a lot to choose from.
A lot, yeah. And each one has its own unique customs and traditions.
Okay, let's dive a little deeper into some of these nationwide festivals. Let's start with the biggest, most elaborate one, New Year, or Shugatsu.
Shugatsu. That's truly a special time in Japan.
Yeah.
And the celebrations, they can last for days, sometimes even the whole month of January.
Really?
Oh, yeah. In the days leading up to New Year's Day, people are busy cleaning their homes, paying off debts, preparing all the special foods.
Like osechi.
Yes, osechi retreat. It's this incredible array of dishes, all beautifully arranged in lacquered boxes.
And each dish has a special meaning, right?
Exactly. They symbolize things like good health, prosperity, happiness, all the good stuff.
Sounds delicious.
It is. And then there are all the decorations, the kagami mochi, those stacked rice cakes, the katamatsu at the entrances.
What are katamatsu?
There are these arrangements of pine branches, bamboo, sometimes plum blossoms. They're meant to welcome the ancestral spirits And also the Toshigami.
Who's the Toshigami?
That's the deity of the new year, the one who brings good fortune.
So it's a really important time for families to come together.
Oh yeah, it's all about spending time with loved ones, visiting temples and shrines, exchanging New Year's greetings.
And what about the food? What else do they eat besides osichi?
Well, on New Year's Eve, it's customary to eat toshikoshi soba, buckwheat noodles. They symbolize longevity.
And they visit Buddhist temples to hear the bells.
Yeah, joya no cane. At midnight, the temples ring their bells 108 times, each ring representing the dispelling of one of the 108 earthly desires.
It's a way of cleansing themselves for the new year.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's otoshidama, the New Year's money that children receive.
And nice little bonus.
Definitely. And later in January, around the 15th, they celebrate Koshigatsu, the small New Year.
What happens during that one?
Well, it's a bit more low-key, but it often involves rituals for a good harvest in the coming year.
So it's like a continuation of the New Year celebrations, but with a focus on agriculture.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even amidst all the festivities, the cycle of life continues.
Okay, let's move on to Hina-matsuri, the doll festival.
Wow, that one's so beautiful. It's all about celebrating girls, wishing them a happy and healthy life.
What happens during Hina-matsuri?
Well, families display these elaborate sets of dolls, called hina-ningi, on tiered platforms covered in red cloth.
What kind of dolls are they?
They represent the imperial court of the Heian period, the emperor, the empress, their attendants, all dressed in these gorgeous silk robes.
Wow, sounds intricate.
Oh, it is. It's an art form in itself. And then the girls, they often dress up in their finest kimono and visit friends who also have doll displays.
It's like a special day just for them.
It is. Very much so. And of course, there are special foods, hishimochi, those diamond-shaped rice cakes, and shirazak, a sweet rice wine.
Sounds festive.
It is. It's a really special day. And the whole thing is believed to ward off evil spirits, to ensure that the girls grow up healthy and happy.
It's a beautiful tradition.
It really is.
Okay, next up we have Hanami.
Flower viewing season.
A time-honored tradition.
Indeed. And it's more than just looking at the blossoms. It's about enjoying the fleeting beauty of nature, celebrating the arrival of spring.
And it's a very social occasion, right?
Oh yeah, people gather in parks, gardens, anywhere the blossoms are in bloom. They have picnics, parties. It's a very festive atmosphere.
I've seen pictures of people having parties under the cherry trees.
It's a classic image. And then there are often special events, festivals, things like that.
Like what?
Well, you might have tea ceremonies, music performances, traditional dances. And at night, many places will have illuminations, which makes the blossoms look even more magical.
It's a time to appreciate the beauty around us.
Absolutely. And to reflect on the ephemeral nature of things, the fact that beauty is often fleeting.
A good reminder.
It is.
Then we have Hana-matsuri, the flower festival.
This one's a bit different. It's a Buddhist festival celebrating the birth of Buddha.
And it happens on April 8th, right?
That's right. And the main ritual is this beautiful custom of pouring sweet tea over a statue of the baby Buddha.
Sweet tea?
Yeah, it's called amacha. It's made from hydrangea leaves, and it has a slightly sweet flavor.
Interesting. And why do they pour it over the Buddha statue?
It's symbolic of the cleansing bath that the baby Buddha received after he was born.
Ah.
And the statue is usually decorated with flowers, which is where the name Flower Festival comes from.
It's a very visual celebration.
It is, and often there will be lion dances and other performances as well.
Sounds lively.
It is, very much so. It's a joyful celebration of a significant figure in Buddhist tradition.
Okay, moving on to Tanabata, the Star Festival.
This one's on July 7th. It's a beautiful and romantic festival with roots in a Chinese legend.
Tell me about the legend.
It's the story of two star-crossed lovers, the Weaver Star and the Cowherd Star.
Starkle.
Yeah, they're only allowed to meet once a year, on the 7th day of the 7th month.
Ah, that's sad.
It is, but it's also a symbol of enduring love and hope.
So how do people celebrate Tanabata?
Well, the main tradition is to write wishes on colorful strips of paper, called tanzaku, and then hang them on bamboo branches.
Like wishing upon a star.
Kind of, yeah. The bamboo is often decorated with other ornaments too, making it a really beautiful display.
It's a lovely tradition.
It is, and the festival itself has a really magical atmosphere.
Now, marking the end of the Bon period, we have the Japanese Floating Lantern Festival, Tutren Nagashi.
Ah, yes, this one's quite moving.
It's about guiding the spirits of the deceased, right?
Exactly. It usually happens in mid-July or August, depending on the region. People make these paper lanterns, light candles inside them, and then float them on water.
On rivers, lakes, even the ocean.
Yeah, anywhere there's water. The lanterns are meant to guide the spirits of the deceased back to the other world.
It's a beautiful image.
It is. And often people will write messages on the lanterns, messages to their loved ones who have passed away.
It's a way of saying goodbye, of honoring their memory.
Exactly. It's a very poignant and beautiful tradition.
And speaking of honoring ancestors, we have the Bon Festival itself.
A very important time in the Buddhist calendar.
It happens in mid-August.
That's right. And it's all about welcoming the spirits of the deceased back to this world for a brief visit.
So it's a bit like Obon.
Similar, yeah. Families will set up altars in their homes with offerings of food and drink for the spirits. They'll also visit graves, clean them, and leave offerings there.
And there are special dances, right?
Yeah, Bon Odori. They're often performed in circles with people wearing traditional clothing.
It's a way of celebrating life, even as they remember those who have passed on.
Exactly. It's a time for reflection, for connection, for remembering.
A beautiful thing.
It is.
As we move into autumn, we have the tradition of momijigari.
Ah, yes. This is like the autumn equivalent of Hanami.
So instead of cherry blossoms, it's about the autumn leaves.
Exactly. Momichigari means red leaf hunting, and it's the custom of going out to admire the beautiful autumn foliage.
And where do people go for this?
Anywhere with beautiful trees, really. Parks, mountains, temples, gardens.
It's like a national pastime.
Pretty much. People love to take pictures of the colorful leaves, have picnics under the trees, just enjoy the scenery.
It's a way of